Here we go.
Alright, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about mage healing. Specifically, I'm going to be updating my mage healing guide for phase 2, and we'll be talking about everything we can think of to do with mage healing, including, if you're looking at the background, a frost build for healing. It may not be as good of a healing spec as Arcane, but we'll go over it just because it's a thing you can do. So if you like this kind of content, be sure to leave me a like, comment, subscribe, all that fun jazz. We'll just jump right into it. So first thing we'll go over is the spec that you would use for a frost healing build. Okay, here we go. For a frost healing build, you would want to put 3 in elemental precision. And your next 2 points, wherever you want them, might as well put them in frost warding, because you're not really using frostbolt. If you're going to use frostbolt to solo when you're not trying to heal, then, you know, fine, you can put them in that. The next tier, you want 3 out of 3 permafrost, 2 out of 2 improved frost nova. Then we're going to take ice shards, all 5 in shatter, of course, 1 in ice block. Now at this point, I would say definitely put the points into frost channeling to reduce your threat, give you a little more mana efficiency as well, and then throw a point in cold snap because, you know, cooldowns are nice to have. And then 5 out of 5 winter's chill, and 1 into ice barrier. I had been playing around with the thought of taking these points out of frost channeling and putting them in improved blizzard so I could also have an AoE grinding spec, but you know, you just end up needing the frost channeling. You need the reduced threat, and you need the reduced mana cost. So that's your spec for frost healing. Now let's talk about runes. For healing with frost, it's gonna be weird. You're gonna want Fingers of Frost on your chest piece. On your gloves, you're going to want Arcane Blast. On your belt, you want Spellfrost Bolt, because that's going to be your main spell that you're going to use. And legs, you want Mass Regeneration. And then for your boots, you want Brain Freeze. So what's happening here is your rotation is mainly just Spellfrost Bolt, and you're fishing for procs on Fingers of Frost, which you're going to use the Fingers of Frost procs. You're going to swap over and cast Arcane Blast because it will still benefit from shatter. And, you know, your Fingers of Frost makes the target seem frozen, so you're going to have 50% extra crit chance with Arcane Blast. Arcane Blast is going to be the same cast time as Spellfrost Bolt, so you're not losing any casting time, but the crits that you get from Arcane Blast are going to be way bigger than Spellfrost Bolt, so definitely worth it to use your Fingers of Frost procs with Arcane Blast instead of Spellfrost Bolt. Now, the other thing you're doing with Spellfrost Bolt is fishing for procs of Brain Freeze. When you get the procs of Brain Freeze, it means you just get an instant cast free Spellfrost Bolt. So all that is working together pretty nicely. The only real problem I have with this build is you're stuck with just mass regeneration, and because this build without Fingers of Frost really doesn't feel all that great. So if you're just using the regular regeneration rune, uh, you lose out on the Fingers of Frost, and it just, yeah, doesn't feel great. So that being said, here's some gameplay of me actually using the Spell Frost Bolt to heal with. I mean, it does work, but like I say, you're stuck using mass regeneration. The only real problem I have with this build, you absolutely rely on your procs in order for this build to be kind of okay, right? So, can it be done? Yes. Yes, it can be done. Is it anywhere near as good as Arcane, in my opinion? Not really. And, you know, just because something can be done doesn't mean it should be done. But, however, I can think of a few instances where this build, or where if you're already a DPS Frost Mage, you could throw these runes on and it be useful. Number one is the PvP event in Stranglethorn, or any PvP, really. If your group is having trouble with heals, throwing these runes on just to, you know, have another little bit of healing is, you know, not really hurting much. You're really just losing your leg slot and maybe your glove slot. Like, you won't be running Ice Lance. But yeah, just for some extra healing for PvP, this is probably where this spec and build for healing is going to shine. Like I said, it's still, it just doesn't feel all that great to me compared to Arcane. So it's not anywhere near as mana efficient. Like I say, you're completely reliant on the procs. So when you're getting the procs on Fingers of Frost and Brain Freeze, this feels fairly good. But when you're not, it just feels awful. So there's not really a lot you can do about that. That's just the way this build's gonna work. The other spot I thought this might come in handy is in a, you know, raid boss fight where the healers are having a little trouble keeping up. You could put these runes on just to help with the healing for that fight. It'd make fairly good raid healing during a fight like that, but yeah, like I say, I don't think it's all that viable just for healing. I did want to mention it because it's something you can do, though. You can heal as a Frost Mage now. So, alright, so now that we've taken a look at the Spellfrost build, we're going to jump over and take a look at the Arcane build. Okay, so if we're building for healing on an Arcane Mage, start out by taking 2 in Arcane Subtlety, 3 in Arcane Focus, 5 in Arcane Concentration, 5 in improved arcane missiles, 3 in arcane meditation. And here's the point where you need to make a decision. You can either get one specialization to increase your damage with wands, or you can get arcane focus, the last 2 points. And I'm picking up arcane focus because it's better while you're leveling, in my opinion. So just be aware if you want to change this and get the 2 points in one specialization, I mean, yeah, that's okay. So now we're going to pick up Presence of Mind, Arcane Resilience, and 3 in Arcane Mind, 3 in Arcane Stability. Go back and finish off Arcane Mind, and Arcane Power. That's the whole build right there, like everything in the Arcane tree. As far as runes go, for the chest rune, you're going to run Regeneration, obviously. Hands rune, you're going to run Arcane Blast, hands down. Waist rune, Missile Barrage. This is by far my favorite rune out of Phase 2 so far. So legs, you're going to have a choice here. They've nerfed the hell out of Living Flame. It's not going to do anywhere near as well. It's doing 20% the healing that it was before. So, yeah, this is not all that amazing. I usually run Mass Regeneration just for the group healing for when I need it. But there are 2 other options you could use. Arcane Surge is pretty decent. This is honestly, if you're not AoE healing at all, this is honestly probably the best one for you to take. Just because once you run out of mana, you can use this and get 300% of your mana regen activated. And apparently it's not bugged anymore, and it actually works. So Arcane Surge was probably the best, but I will throw Icy Veins in the mix as an alternative. If you're not having to worry about raid healing, I mean, this will help you pump out your Arcane Blasts a lot faster, which is kind of a double-edged sword. I mean, you're gonna run out of mana a little faster, but it is a straight DPS increase. So you can use this and Arcane Power. You can use them at the same time, but you could alternate them as well and have longer of a duration where you're doing more healing. So just throwing that out there as an option. But like I say, most of the time I leave Mass Regen on, just because yeah, if you need to AoE heal and you can't, it just feels awful. So your Boots rune, now, yeah, they've got a couple of options on the boots that are good for healing. Most of the time, what you probably want is the Spell Power rune. Increases critical strike damage bonus of all spells by 50%. I haven't tested it yet, but I have been testing it a little bit, but I can't say with certainty that this works. So I'm gonna hold off judgment on that. If it did work, I think this would probably be the best bang for your buck. But I will say Chronostatic Preservation is a really powerful heal. The only problem with it is it's got a 2-second cast time, and then you have to hit it again, and it'll be an instant heal. So as long as you use it within 15 seconds, it's an instant heal. And you know, it's a really powerful heal, though. It'll be at 35. My mage is 35 right now. This is healing for like 600 to 800. So you know, it's pretty good to have just a direct heal. Especially, you know, like when you need to do a little healing in between fights and, you know, regen just isn't cutting it. This will top someone off really quick. So it's, you know, I'm going to go ahead and put that one on there just because it is actually really useful. Okay, so here we have the Arcane spec in action. And yes, I'm aware that both of these clips started with me drinking, which is, you know, just kind of funny. But Arcane spec in action. The rotation is literally Arcane Blast. Either until you get to 4 stacks, or until you get an Missile Barrage proc. So if you cast Arcane Blast one time, get a Missile Barrage proc, you might as well just use it right then. It usually doesn't work out for me that way. Since I'm spamming Arcane Blast, I'll get at least 2 stacks of Arcane Blast before I get to the Arcane Surge proc. The only time I would cancel the cast of Arcane Blast to go ahead and get the Missile Barrage proc would be if you're on your 3rd or 4th stack. I mean, you could go ahead and move and cancel your cast and, you know, go ahead and swap over to the Missile Barrage proc, because Missile Barrage is so good. So good right now. Missile Barrage makes you one of the most efficient healers. I mean, it's just night and day compared to what it was before. That was kind of my problem with mage healing, is I found mana efficiency to be, you know, kind of a problem until I got a lot of gear. Now it feels pretty good, even with me not being at max level, even with me not having very good gear. It feels really good. So, yeah, that's just beautiful now. But that's literally your pretty much your whole rotation. You can use Presence of Mind to get off like the second Arcane Blast really quick and give you a ton of healing right at once. You can use Arcane Power to give yourself more healing at the cost of more mana cost. But all in all, I mean, Arcane feels way better in Phase 2 than it ever did in Phase 1 for me. Okay, so I forgot to mention this earlier when I was talking about the rotation, so I'm having to come back, you know, later and add this into the video. But on your rotation, usually when I get to 4 stacks, if I haven't hit a Missile Barrage proc by that point, instead of just casting Arcane Missiles to to get rid of the stacks on the Arcane Blast, I've been finding it better to either cast Regeneration or Mass Regeneration at that point to consume the stacks. It's better on your mana, and it's something you're probably needing to do anyways by that point. So, you know, just go ahead and cast Regeneration or Mass Regeneration instead of casting a normal, slow arcane missiles. Seems to work better for me. And it's definitely more mana efficient. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to play Arcane Healer in Phase 2. I would like to point out that with this Missile Barrage rune, I am pulling so much more damage than I was with my Frost Spec trying to heal. Like, it's just night and day. It's not even close. So, can you heal with Frost? Yes. Is it better? No. No, not in my opinion. The only problem I really have, or the only thing that the Frost Spec really has over the Arcane Spec is that you have the crowd control of slowing people when you hit them with that spell Frost Bolt, which, you know, that is definitely a consideration. But I mean, I just can't deal with how mana inefficient those heals are. I really feel like just staying arcane is the way to go for healing. And also, this spec feels amazing for questing right now. Granted, it's not going to be good for AoE farming so much, but just going out and questing, this build really does feel great. You kill quest targets in no time with this build. The DPS is actually really solid for Arcane right now. Let's see, was I going to talk about anything else? Probably. Can I remember it? Definitely not. So, that's all I've got for you today. That's all I can think of to talk about right now. So, if you like this kind of content, be sure to leave me a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think about all of it. And I'll see you in the next one.